What is the difference between knowledge and wisdom? Knowledge is just facts. Like, okay, I know the capital. Wisdom is the knowledge of things that never change. It's the understanding of things that never change. It's like, what is human nature? What does it mean to be a good person? What is beauty? What is goodness? What is the best way of living? Is it good to have children? Who are we? How did we get here? As a Christian, we believe wisdom starts with the fear of the Lord. I don't think being wealthy is that important. Like, do you want to be wealthy of the soul or just have like a bunch of money? The question is fine. If you want to be rich, I can tell you how to get rich. Like, that's actually not that hard. Work relentlessly and solve a problem for people. Like, dedicate your entire life to it. If your whole reason for living is to become rich, you will become rich. But like, you have to sacrifice everything to want to become actually rich, unless you're born into it. Like, no nights, few weekends. I traveled 3,000 days over a decade. I don't drink alcohol. Tucker Carlson doesn't drink alcohol. Donald Trump doesn't drink alcohol. Now, that doesn't mean that like you can't be rich if you don't drink alcohol, but you must sacrifice stuff. Now, it might be that you create a good widget or like you might a good social media app, but even those guys will tell you, you have to fail a lot. You have to sacrifice a lot. If you want like the secret to get rich, it's actually like not super hard. It's like live below your means, save your money, invest in good companies, and read a lot. If you just read a lot, you'll be well informed. Like, I know a lot of people, they're like, I want to be rich. I spent $700 going out this weekend. Like, oh, yes, you don't want to be rich, okay? The best way to build wealth is over long periods of time, saving money and doing boring stuff. It's not get rich quick. It's going to work, saving money, and living below your means.
Do you think it's possible to build wealth when you're making $40,000 a year?
First of all, if you're earning $40,000 a year, you're in a tough spot. And you might be there because your own choices, your own agency. Depends where you live, depends your age. And also depends your circumstances. And so if you have kids and $40,000 a year, it's very hard to build wealth. And that's a real problem that we have to tackle. But if you're 18 years old earning $40,000 a year and you have 4 roommates, yeah, you can build wealth for sure, actually. Like, if you have 4 roommates and you're living in downtown Phoenix and your rent's $1,000 a month because you're splitting it 4 ways, you absolutely can build wealth. I mean, so it's a very case-dependent answer.
Now, you've started making quite a lot of money going from the beginning to where you are now.
Very blessed.
Have you handled your own personal finances?
Very carefully. I mean, I'm a big investor. I have a great team that does it. I didn't take a salary from Turning Point USA the first 5 years. I mean, all the money went back into the company. And so my test of a founder is always like, what do you pay yourself the first couple of years? I would say that probably over 75 to 80% of all the money I make is invested.
What do you invest in?
I mean, it's very diversified from private equity. I'm super boring with some stuff too. I'm just like, hey, buy this mutual fund, buy the Dow, buy this index, and just kind of put it aside. I went all in and bought the dip during the tariff stuff and COVID.
Do you manage your own money or do you have people?
No, I have a great guy that does, but I call a lot of shots. Like, I make macro decisions, not micro decisions. For example, if there's like, hey, I want to invest in, more artificial intelligence, or I think that oil is undervalued, we'll have a conversation. And then I'll do a little bit of real estate here or there, like flipping homes and stuff like that.
Where do you have the time for that?
Time's a very interesting thing. If you meticulously plan out your day, there's so much waste in people's schedule. How much time do things actually take? Do you really need 2 hours for a meeting? I'm like a time efficiency maximalist. And I still get 9 to 10 hours of sleep a night, amazingly.
Have you always been this way? Like, you've had laser sharp focus?
Yes.
You don't do anything to try to cultivate this motivation and laser focus?
No, I've always been very driven, like very, very driven. I thought when I first started this, everyone had equal drive. I didn't realize that like motivation, drive, and grit and hustle was actually like an exceptional quality. And so then quickly I realized like, whoa, I'm just gonna outwork everybody. Like, I'm not the most charismatic person. I can speak. I got a good thing going. I'm not the smartest person. I go to Harvard Law. I don't have the highest IQ, but I am gonna outwork you. Like, I'll put in more hours. I'll read more books. I'll listen to more podcasts. I will do more meetings. I'll travel to more cities. Like, that I can do.
What do you think is the biggest issue with modern dating? Graham, he got married a year or so
Congratulations. Have as many kids as you can afford. The biggest problem with modern dating is very interesting. We had a women's summit. The young ladies all raised their hands. They're like, how many of you are unhappy with the dating pool? Every woman raises their hand. Funny, all the young men I talked to are unhappy with you too. So who's wrong? I would say generally I hear more complaints about the dating pool than, like, wow, there's so many options. Yeah. What's the problem with women? And then I'll go to the problem with men. The problem with women is that many of them, have unrealistic expectations of the man that they want. A lot of them. Like, I want a guy that's earning $1 million a year and he's 6'4" and I want him to have a perfect jaw. And I'm like, yeah, that's never going to happen. How about, where on your list is like, I want someone who will be a good father or someone with good character. Why don't you want someone that's going to be loyal to you, not cheat on you? Like, oh yeah, I want that too. Oh, okay, got it. So basically you want like Ken Barbie doll, and then you'll have like all the good virtues. Number two is that we need to tell women more clearly that if you do not have children before the age of 30, there's only a 50% chance that you will have children.
That's a fact.
It's a fact. You can fact check me on that. But I think that we've gone wrong here, that women should prioritize family and children way above career, that they should try to find their husband before they're 25. Having children, I believe, is a blessing from the Lord. It's the most amazing thing. You should try to have as many children as you can. Much more important than traveling to Thailand or having a big apartment or a bunch of cats. Having children are a gift from the Lord. So young ladies, they need to be very clear about what they're expecting in a man and date with the intent to marry and not just date to, have a good time.
Yes. What do you think is the main thing men need to do to make themselves worthy?
The most attractive quality in a young man that young women can't ever articulate is self-control. A woman needs to be able to know that you can control your impulses when things get really crazy. They can't articulate it, but that's what they want. So for example, they want to be able, when you go on a date, can you control your mouth? Can you control your tongue? Can you control your eye? Are you going to cheat on her? Are you going to have a wandering eye? Women can't always put that into words, but that differentiates a boy from a man. So you have to be able to control your flesh. And so when men are dating, if you want to make yourself more attractive to a woman, first of all, demonstrate self-control. And also women want to be they want to be taken care of. I know this is super provocative, but deep down, they want a man to be able to provide for them financially.
Should a man pay on the first date?
100%. What kind of a wuss beta male is splitting the check? I would go into debt and scrub dishes before a woman paid for it.
I split the check quite a lot.
So I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend you. You guys are great. That's incomprehensible to me. I think
to me, I thought it was a great financial decision.
From your prism, I totally get that. And you have really good financial discipline. I'm sorry. I would be so humiliated. I find that to be the greatest beta male, humiliation.
To save money?
To the idea that a woman that you're trying to court. By the way, that money you save is not worth the honor that you compromise.
It is such a big deal.
It's a massive deal.
No, in fairness, for your point with Macy, I paid for the whole first date.
Well, hold on. Why'd you do that one though?
I was at a level where that felt like the right choice to make. I was also in a point where I was ready to be able to
financially.
Yes.
Legit. I get that.
Early 20s,
I still think
saving $5 here and there, I would do it. I would go to
so you're manic with saving money.
I brought food from home.
No, that's
today.
By the way,
and coffee from home.
Frugality is a virtue.
Yeah.
So we as Christians believe that there is an order of virtues, and above frugality is honor. And so we as men must lead. We must provide. Under no circumstance ever should a man ever let a woman pay for a date, or you should split ever. No circumstance.
Even on the third, fourth, fifth.
What if it's the first date and you're just not
for anything?
Okay, well, let me.
Period.
Well, let me. Okay, so
what kind of world are we living in?
I agree with you. If I'm dating a girl, I would pay for everything.
Everything.
Yeah, everything. However, I could see for other people that might be in a different financial position, you pay for 10 dates and then she's like, you know what? I want to treat you.
That's totally different. What we're talking about is we're going to alternate. Once you're serious and she wants to take you out to something for a nice dinner. By the way, if you have the intent to marry, you're already kind of blending finances. I get that psychologically, but if you're we'll take turns. You pay this time, I pay this time.
What's your advice to a girl who the guy she's currently seeing, he says that?
Oh, do not marry that man. You as women should want to be provided for. In fact, you should have an expectation that you as a woman are so important and so critical and so necessary and beautiful that it shouldn't even be a question. Now, if it's a business lunch or friend zone stuff, 50-50. We're not talking about that. I have a lot of tips. So for marriage or for dating? I have
both. Let's start with dating and then move our way to marriage.
So in dating, bring back purity, bring back saving yourself for marriage. Okay, but other things is this. You should go on a road trip with the person you're dating. It's very important. You should find uncomfortable, high pressure travel situations. That's not just flying first class to Aruba. And you should try to be in places of discomfort intentionally with who you are dating, and you'll find out a lot with that person. Going into marriage, though, I'm a big believer in premarital counseling. I think that there are several questions that are not answered when most people go into marriage that should be answered. Money is number one, right? Who's going to handle the finances? Here's one that you might not have done that you should do while you're still in the honeymoon phase. Are you going to have an open or closed house? So were you raised in a house where a lot of friends came over all the time? Or were you raised in a house where almost no friends came over? It's an important question because I was raised in a very closed house. I know people that are raised in open houses and it's destroyed their marriages. You know the type where they're always having people over? Imagine if you were to marry a closed house person and all of a sudden you were like, hey, we're going to constantly have a stream of people. And you don't talk about that before marriage. All of a sudden, you're like, it's total chaos for a closed house person because they're raised in a place where evenings are very quiet. This is another important. Make sure that you get along with each other. that you really like each other, not just love each other, that you like spending time with that person. One of my favorite words in the English language is like. It's very unique. Only the English language actually has that. Do you like spending time or do you just love that person? Because liking is like, hey, can you talk to that person 7 hours uninterrupted on a park bench if you needed to? Or is it just kind of like an annoyance and is it just purely physical? Other questions and other pieces of advice that I think are really important. In-laws matter. They really do. They shouldn't always necessarily be deal breakers, but boy, you should know the in-laws because your wife will take the form of the mother more times than not. Children, how many children? When are you going to have children? Is it a priority? Will it be early? Will it be late? Religious questions. Are we going to raise them religious? Other questions that I think are really important that actually don't always get flushed out. How many vacations are we going to take? What type of vacations? Are we an RV family? Are we go to a private island family? Are we going to splurge on one vacation a year? Or are we going to do like 3 or 4? This is important before you get married. All of a sudden, you're kind of in the marriage thing and you're like, hey, I just booked us a vacation. Like, what? I didn't want to, because it's different philosophies of time off. Last one, which is the biggest of all. What are acceptable and unacceptable vices for our marriage? For example, is it acceptable for the husband to smoke a cigar? Has she smelled cigar before you get married? And does she know what that is? These are questions that honestly, all the time that people do not always flesh out before marriage. Again, we have an amazing marriage, my wife and I. Obviously, it's not perfect. No marriage is perfect, but we actually like each other. We prioritize date night. We're actually doing it right after this tonight, which is awesome. But I find so often that people in dating don't date with the intent to marry. And when they end up wanting to marry, they don't even ask the tough questions before they get married.
You have a good pulse of what's really going on with younger people. What's something that you've noticed that mainstream media either gets wrong or is just out of touch on?
Young men especially, they desire to be more religious than I think they give them credit for. There is a return to religion. There's definitely a curiosity for God and for going back to the church in a very serious and significant way. Modernity has given us a lot of great stuff, right? I mean, praise God that we have modern medicine and surgery, but the core of modernity is what? You are in charge of your own life and you could do whatever you want to do, and you're the center of the universe. Sounds good, leads to highest anxiety and hopelessness. There's constant change. And I think young people want to go to a church environment that isn't changing. They want to go to a place that is stable, that is consistent, that is beautiful, that is ancient, that is everlasting, and that is eternal. I was just recently graduated from high school. I wanted to go to West Point before that, didn't get in, and it ended up being one of the greatest things that never happened to me. And so I went to the Republican National Convention. I studied like all the major donors. I had to kind of like sneak my way into the RNC grounds. And at the 4th day, I was so demoralized. I was like, oh, this is not working. I have this idea for Turning Point USA, which basically the idea was to try to win over young people around conservative ideas. And I was in a stairwell, literally a stairwell. And then I saw Foster Freeze doing like a podcast interview with this major cowboy hat on. And I gave him the stairwell pitch. People talk about the elevator pitch. I gave him a stairwell pitch. And he told a couple jokes. He was the sweetest, most godly, incredible person. He actually took me seriously because here I was 18 years old, no money, no connections, no idea what I was doing. So here I am pitching a guy, a legend, about, this organization that I wanted to start, Turning Point USA. And he took me so seriously. And he wrote me a $10,000 check. And that was like the seed funding. And it might as well have been $100 million, right? It finally was enough for me to be able to start a website, to have gas in the car.
What do you think he saw in you?
He probably saw someone that was passionate enough and crazy enough. And in Foster's own words, he said he saw someone with focus and determination. You asked the question, what did it teach me about risk? Well, honestly, I had nothing to really risk because I had nothing to lose. And so that's like in life, if you think about it, like, okay, if you're second mortgaging your house, like some entrepreneurs are, I don't have like one of those stories. That is something to lose. This is like the only thing you have to lose is your own sense of comfort. Comfort will not bring you success, actually. It won't bring you excellence. Only in that place of uncomfort and discomfort do you actually get to the next level.
Why don't more people think like you?
First of all, it is risk in the sense that we as human beings do desire comfort and we want to kind of be in a place where we can have certainty above uncertainty. Going and asking a top billionaire for money, you have the probability of failure, and we are very failure-averse as a species. I think we have to overcome our genetic hardwiring where so many people think that it's like a life or death situation. I can't ask this girl out. I can't go ask for a raise. What is risk is like if there's a material or a reputational thing you're putting on the line. But if you're 18 years old and you have no money, no connections, no idea what you're doing, I had nothing to lose.
What do you do now to save as much time as possible?
So I'm a huge scheduler. I schedule out days in advance. This is where I'm gonna eat lunch. Like I go down to like 15-minute interval. And then the biggest hack, it's called layering. You know this. So anything you're doing, try to fit 2 or 3 things on top of it. So if I'm traveling to go speak, listen to an audiobook. So then all of a sudden I'm getting 2 things done at once. If I'm training or working out, I'm also gonna be trying to listen to a podcast. I'm a big walker. I think there's a couple health hacks out here that are right in front of us that nobody ever wants to talk about. I'm a huge believer in sleep, like massive believer. I think it's totally undervalued. I'm a major believer in walking. I think we don't talk about walking enough. Just walk, not running, not deadlifting, not cold plunging. Just walking. I'm a big believer in fasting. I think fasting's like untapped power. And then I just think like not eating terribly. My best ideas are when I'm walking. My best ideas are when I'm moving. And I go for walks with my kids. So that's another layering, right? So as far as time, you just also have to be able to say no.
Could we do a couple rapid fire questions
sure,
real
go
quick? Okay. What's your biggest insecurity?
Forgetting something I should know.
Will you run for president?
I'm not running for president.
If everything completely goes away, how do you want to be remembered?
I mean, if I like die,
Everything just goes away. If you could be associated with one thing, how would you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith in my life.